Kaylin Wolf and Dylan Lard. Um, and what we'd like to get them to do, you can probably see a room full of people here, or not a room full, but a room of people. Um, we'd like to get y'all to tell us a little bit, kind of one at a time, take a couple of minutes, one at a time, and just kind of tell us how you got your start in the industry and maybe how you switched over to your second job. And then after that, we'll take some questions from y'all about that. So um, I guess, Hope, we have these, you probably can't see it. Maybe you can, but it says Skype 1. So Hope, can you go first and just kind of tell us a little bit how you got your start and things like that? On the microphone. Awesome, cool. Next up will be Kaylin. Kaylin, I guess we're getting a lot of wind noise, but we'll go with it anyways. I think it's going to be cool. Kaylin, can you tell us how you got your start and kind of how you moved into where you are right now?
Oh, wow. I would say probably when I was 17 before I started at Montevallo.
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead. Whoop.
And also, it's kind of weird hearing myself feedback. That's, yeah, echo there. But yeah, so when I was 17, I started writing for my newspaper, The Islander. And just really, I knew what I wanted to do. And I had the opportunity to start writing and start taking pictures. So it was a lot of fun, just being there, right place at the right time. And kind of grew from there. I've worked in a lot of places, and I kind of moved up from regular reporter to a weekly columnist at the Louisville News Journal to a breaking news reporter at the New York Times. And why we're all at the beach right now is I'm creative director at Meyer Vacations. And so I take a lot of pictures of the beach. I do a lot of social media and videography. So that's kind of where my current direction is. I will be celebrating my 5th anniversary in February.
Cool. And then up next is Dylan. Dylan is kind of here locally, also off 280 in Birmingham. So, Dylan, can you tell us?
And I almost lost it.
Whoop. Sorry. Dylan, can you tell us a little bit how you got your start and how you ended up where you are right now?
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, thanks for having me, y'all. It's a pleasure to talk with y'all. The kind of long story short, I started over at Masscom and honestly never really realized I could get a job playing on a computer. And so I found very excited. Um, overall, I did a couple different internships just to really cut my teeth and get some diverse experience from doing Adobe-based design work with a corporate design team to interning with a web company and a web agency downtown and a video production company that really just kind of opened my eyes up to all the options that were out there in the world for our kind of skill sets. From kind of leaving there, graduating college, I pretty quickly through some of those experiences learned that I definitely some things I didn't want to do, and that I really did want to do video, and that was kind of my passion and where my skill sets fit well. From there, I met a partner, and we started a production company going on 2013, so seven years ago or so, and it's kind of wild to think back and see where space is now from and 7 years ago. It's literally done a 180, if not more, in the type of content clients want, the types of videos, the style, the length, the runtime. Everything's really changed. I think back my first semester in MassCom, we were still shooting on tape. Everyone be thankful you don't have to record tape anymore. Um, and I mean, that's been the biggest thing that we've seen is just this huge evolution of where the
I
space is
second that.
going from content to the platforms you get to view the content on, from social media, the web, TV, everything. I mean, it's all evolving just rapidly. Where 7 years ago we were doing 5 to 7 minute videos, people now want, oh, I need this huge complex message in 30 seconds. And sometimes you definitely got to rein them in and, educate them on what is possible from a production and a creative standpoint. But that's really been the most intriguing thing to me is just seeing the way social media is impacting everything we do on a content level. I mean, it's really kind of game changing, where we're at a point now with our company where we're really trying to figure out how to harness those new platforms and help our clients harness them. How we can produce content for multiple platforms and, that's valuable for them from a price point, a creative, a conceptual standpoint, but just sheer marketing. They're trying to and advertise and market to their customers. And, a lot of the industries we work in are pretty, not to say ignorant, but just unexperienced, unexposed to media as a whole, especially social media, the web. And so it's just been a huge thing that we've seen is just the way the whole world's changing. I mean, think back to when I graduated, it was a completely different story. Where now it's exponentially more evolved and really just where it's going. I mean, and the coolest thing that we see with young folks coming out of college is they're more prepared and experienced than we ever were coming out of college because you guys have lived it day in and day out. Your social media and all those platforms are second nature to you where, I'm still learning. I had to learn at some point how not to like a post under the company name versus my own personal name. Really, uh, it's just kind of a realistic thing that we've seen. People coming out of school now are wholeheartedly just fully capable using all these technologies. Where years ago we were learning them and as they emerged.
Cool. Well, thanks. Well,
Overall,
oh,
that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Skype, gotta love it. Awesome. Well, thanks. Well, what I want to do now is, I guess y'all can probably see me on there. See if anybody of y'all have any questions or anything, would like to ask a question of them. Somebody? Oh, somebody's got to have a question now. Oh, here we go. All right.
Start the mic. Okay. Hi, I'm Cole. I'm a mass comms minor, and this question is more towards the web design portion of it. How, how often would you say you actually use it with your career?
Yeah, if there's a delay with Skype, so.
I know it's fine.
I'll go first for web design, at least. Thankfully, we have a company that we go through for, at least for our website, that does like the nuts and bolts of it. But every day, like right now, I'm actually at work. Before I called in, I was working on a web banner. So, I mean, I pretty much put out web banners for our website on the day, like day to day. And if it's not that, then we also have digital signage in all of our branches that we have. So I'm constantly creating digital signage or, different digital media needs. This year, our company is actually having a stronger push towards digital, like strategic digital media. So that's all pretty much going to fall into my lap. So, along with Dylan, I'm having to learn a lot more when it comes to the digital side of it, but it is very much a part of the day to day, especially for me.
Cool. Other thoughts on using web
It's
design?
not so much for me. I will say for Meyer Vacation Rentals, we do, but we do have an in-house team, and we actually have like more than I want to say like 3 million views a year. So we output a lot of people on our website, and we host 35,000 vacations. Unfortunately, I do not know what the buttons do, and I'm not allowed to push them, but it's kind of fancy.
I gotta love the Skype delay. Go ahead, Dylan.
I know for me and my experience, I mean, it's a huge integral part of what we do every. It's a huge integral part of what we do every day. You know, if I can't tell you how many times we're talking with a client, maybe pitching a video or a concept, and they're also like, you make websites too? I mean, that's literally like every third one we talk to, they kind of have that question. I mean, the biggest thing now that we see is pretty much any company across any industry has the demand for the skill sets we're learning and y'all are learning in masscom, and whether that's video, photography, social media, content, writing, design, top to bottom. There, just about every company out there, if not every single one, has the need in some capacity. Doesn't matter the industry, doesn't have to be traditional media, entertainment industry, film industry. It's literally every single company across the board, period. That's been the biggest thing that we've seen over the years is it's just a huge need for it. I mean, that's just where everything's going. And even the companies you would think, oh, they probably don't have a website or they might not need social media. They do. They're wanting it. And so there's huge demand.
Cool. Other questions? Oh, here we go.
This is more of a question for the reporter. How exactly did you get your foot in a newspaper or wherever you started to work for first? How would you go about doing that?
Oh, that's a good question. So my way is really unconventional, but honestly, I had the opportunity of 15 years ago was Hurricane Ivan. And, that really decimated the community. So they were looking for those authentic stories. They were looking for that content. They were looking for someone to just get in there and, report. And, like I said, in high school, I kind of knew what I wanted to do. And I was like, well, I'm going to figure out how to go about it. So in my case, it had to do with Hurricane Ivan. But thankfully, that experience, of course, once you write and once you have your byline, they can't take that away, right? As long as you clip it and you keep it. So I decided to come to Montevallo. I was editor of the Alabamian, and I was able to get work. And then when I graduated, I came back to the Islander and I said, hey, remember me? And they did. And so I wrote for the Islander. And then I was like, you know what? If the Islander likes me so much, I wonder if other people would too. So after I graduated from the University of Montevallo, I got a master's degree at the University of West Florida. And through that, I met with one of the managing editors who adjuncted, and his name was Gary Gitto. And he looked at my work and said, we're looking for new work. are you interested? But, oh, yeah, of course. So I was able to get a weekend Coast Life reporting gig out of my contact. And then I was like, well, if the Cola News Journal likes me, I wonder how many other people would like me too. And that's how I was able to get the position of breaking news reporter for New York Times. Miami Bureau happened to need someone for the Panhandle, and she said, it's far from glamorous, very infrequent, telling me bad things happen. Are you interested? And I said, I was not much for glamour. Sign me up. And so my advice to young reporters is network. There's no such thing as too much networking. And also, looking at what you're writing, looking at what areas you've written, because I do breaking news, I do business, weekly business articles. I started entertainment and opinion columns. So, my advice to reporters is to just take a look at your overall portfolio. Ask yourself, how can we fill in the holes? How can we strengthen those weaknesses? And then you go from there. And I have been very fortunate to have celebrated my 15th anniversary as a reporter this past month. So yeah, good luck. Sure. And if you want me to look at anything, I know we gave our emails out. So for any reporters listening, I'd be happy to read those.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? All right. This is Kelly, and she has a question.
Hello, I'm Kelly, and I have a question. So we actually went to a luncheon today for the PRSA in Birmingham, and they talked about transferable skills. So what would y'all say is a good skill to have that is transferable from the marketing to news to editing and all the different opportunities that we would have within mass communication?
Square one, I would have to say it's not just one skill, but it's a multitude of skills. I think, at the top of the list, say this because I didn't do it, it's writing. It's huge. It's a huge lack of it out there, and good writing on every level, whether it's technical, creative, news, journalism style. I mean, there's an application for it everywhere, not just from traditional journalism or public relations type of approaches, but from creative content production to web development and design and writing copy for web to training content. It's a huge component, but I think also to have a little bit of the post-production side of things, and not only being able to produce and write, but also handle some of the back end stuff. Just click the buttons that help you, get content.
Yeah, and to kind of go off on what Dylan said, it's no longer just a siloed, I'm going to do just print, I'm going to do broadcast only. So, you really have to learn, pretty much everything. They called it a one-man band when I was a student. And I would say the biggest skill would be to editing, photo editing, video editing, even the traditional editing that we see in newspapers. If I had to pick one skill, I would focus on those editing skills for sure.
Deal with the general public in one way or another, whether you are interviewing them. And my standpoint for marketing, I told them this morning, I had an event this morning where I'm having to deal with the general public. So being able to just, have meaningful conversations and being able to pick out important, conversations that you can use for stories or for content, whatever it may be. Just really sharpening like your soft skills, whether it's interview skills or, just interpersonal skills, along with what Dylan and Kaylin both said. So just piggybacking off of them.
Any other questions you guys have? I'm standing right. Any other questions? Besides, make sure you have your audio working next time. That was an adventure in how audio works one day and then doesn't the next. But that was the weirdest thing. Daniel and I tested it Friday. We're like talking back and forth to the control room over Skype, talking to each other over Skype through the system. Everything was happy, hunky-dory, and we get in here today, and it doesn't work. So, yay, technology. But we got it working. Thanks, everybody, for their patience. Other questions? Because anybody? Anybody? Kaylee, do you have a question? Okay. Kaylee doesn't have a question. Do you have any final comments or any final things y'all would like to share? I guess because of the wonders of the Skype delay. Hope, do you got anything you'd like to share finally?
Just thank you, and also everybody learn from Dr. Cofield, and always keep your head on a swivel. Be ready to jump right in there and be adaptable.
Okay, so be adaptable. Kaylin, you're up next because you're on Skype number 2. So, any final thoughts?
Yay! Well, I guess I would also say that kind of what Dylan said earlier, you guys have a state-of-the-art building. I mean, y'all have a state-of-the-art, all the TVs, the switcher, the toaster. When we worked on it was called Falcon Weekly, it was always great. So technology, that's a constant. But you guys have a really awesome, building. So take advantage of it, So, and make friends, because the friends that I made in Mass Comm are still my closest friends today. So that's what I had.
Cool. Dylan, any final thoughts from you?
I think my one thing I meant to say that I didn't, Hope touched on. I mean, the soft skills are the things you can't learn in a book or a manual or on the internet. I mean, it's a huge component of being successful in the workplace, dealing with clients, dealing with projects, of showing up with being professional, on time, with a good attitude, ready to learn and work hard. If you can do all those things, you can learn on the job. You can improve your skills over time. Companies want people that are enjoyable to work with, that show up on time and presentable. I mean, those are just the really simple things you can do that go a lot farther than you might ever imagine sitting over there. I know it's blown my mind as I've gotten older and grown more in my career in the workplace. I mean, that's just a huge component of day in and day out. And, a lot of the times that's what's going to set you apart in an interview to a sea of other people.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I guess we're going to hand y'all's emails out to our people that are in attendance today. So be expecting at least 4 email contacts before too long here. And again, really glad you guys came out for this first one. We knew it was going to be epic. It was almost an epic failure, but the audio decided it was going to start working. So I think it's been epically a good first one. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you all, our panelists, for participating and for the patience as we were able to hear you guys. On anything else? Anybody? Cool. Awesome. Well, then we will say goodbye, and I guess let y'all hang up the Skypes, and we'll go back and beat our system up and figure out what happened with it. So thanks.